A very good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am Neha, Ambassador of Change for Global Education and Training Institute, founded by Dr. Sunita Gandhi, an idea about which we just saw in detail in the video played. Today, this evening, I'm very honored to have amongst us Major Namrata Dhasmana. She has never addressed herself as Major until up till today. I was surprised to see that tag before her. She is a lot of things basically, but she is a very sorted educator. I would say a very sorted person who would be talking about a topic that we have addressed very briefly in one of our ed leaderships. So, ma'am is basically an alumni of IIM Lucknow. She's a global Gallups coach. She's a founder. She's also a Clifton Strengths Finder, a thought leader as well. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. And ma'am will be talking about positive psychology, an idea which I think is very important for our educators to learn so that they can, enhance this idea in classrooms, basically. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. A very warm welcome to you once again.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you for a brief and a wonderful introduction. And yes, just for the audience, while having an interacting interaction with Neha, I was just trying to understand what kind of disruption GETI is doing, and I was very much influenced by the vision of the founder of GETI. And there, I realized this topic of awareness, this topic of positive psychology is very, very important. And I think we didn't take much time in just deciding onto the topic that let's take this positive psychology and let's just unveil the importance and the power of positive psychology and the strengths which God has given us very, very innate. So with this
Absolutely.
as a preface, I'll just quickly share my screen.
Yes, ma'am. I just added. Before that, before we begin, I have a small request. Any every question that we want to be addressed today should be used using the hashtag Namrata Dasmana. I'll put that in the comment section so the audience can use that hashtag to ask their questions.
Okay. So Neha, just confirm me, the screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am. The screen is visible. We are good to go. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thanks. So, first of again, thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity to speak about positive psychology because this really impacts a lot in our day-to-day lives, in our school, college, in corporates. And today I was just going through the news where it was giving the recession in the numbers, the decline in the numbers of CEOs turnover also. Apart from the middle or the senior level people, the CXOs have also started declining, and they are giving volunteer resignation because of the wellness, emotional wellness, mental wellness, and they're just not able to understand that what are they here for. uh, Although my introduction has already been given, and what I keep my one liner with me is as business by mind and coach by heart, because time is very valuable, and we just need to understand that what is the actual requirement of people, customers, and that's where we should be very quick in decision making, and we should always have a heart which is compassionate so that we can create those kind of impacts in our lives. I began my day with yoga and physical fitness, and that's where I'm able to gain all the kind of diversity which in my work. And here are my awards and accomplishments. Indian Achiever Award 2021, most inspiring Indians in 2021. And recently, with my work of socioeconomic analyst, I was felicitated by Pillars of Mumbai in 2022, which is very close, which I found very close to my heart. And I author in Hans India, which is leading India's conglomerate on socioeconomic affairs of the country. So positive psychology. Yesterday I was in Della Leaders Club, which is founded by Jimmy Mistry, and I was invited there as a guest. And there was a talk on happiness. That how can we be happy? And there's so much of sadness in the work and everything. And there was a speaker who spoke about happiness that whenever we come back from home, and there is a work. But there's a mind which is bogged down with work. What do? We just take a small peg of whiskey or rum, and then we just keep our miseries and worries away, and we become happy. It was little contradictory to my mindset and to my philosophy, but I thought to have it reflected in today's talk, because these kind of temporary things that we keep to make and to believe and to feel that we are happy is very, very uh, temporary in nature. We have been created with some kind of minds and with some kind of psychology. Now how are we making that in a constructive way, so that we unleash our true potential, is all based on our experiences, is all based on our grooming, environmental, and all the other kind of external and internal factors. So what does this positive psychology do? Let's just take on to this funny pic. And this boy is just saying that, why don't I have a girlfriend? I want one. I deserve one. And that's what everybody says, that I also deserve to be happy. I also deserve to have a good job. I also deserve to have a good wife or husband or a job or a girlfriend. And then the girl is replying, maybe you're looking at the wrong way. So just have a mindset shift. Maybe you're such a great guy and it's just hard to find a girl who deserves you. And with this as a mindset shift, there's a shift in the psychology. There's a shift from scarcity mindset to a abundance mindset. And then things start happening. Because till the time we keep thinking about as a negative way, as a in a negative psychology, we just keep degrading ourselves, and we start feeling that where should I fit myself. But then you once you understand that what are you here for, what are your innate strengths, what is that's something that I bring to the table, then all these things where you can get fixed will come your way. And that's where happens once we start having that kind of positive psychology. So, what is positive psychology and how does this unleash your true potential? The aim of positive psychology is to catalyze a change in psychology from a preoccupation only with repairing the worst things in life and to building the best qualities in life. We all are just so keen in fixing our weakness, that we are not good in this, I'm not good in communication, I'm not good in analytical, I don't have strategic thinking. But how all these things that you are speaking and you are trying to fix as your weakness or something which is not in you is affecting your life. You are just trying to improve and just trying to fix all the things which you do not have, or perhaps you are not even aware whether they have or not, but someone has come and told you, and you are just trying to fix all those things. So how is your psychology going to be positive, or how you are going to unleash your true potential? Because I firmly believe we all are creations of God, and God has given equal brain, equal talents and strengths to each and everyone. Now it is upon you, how are you developing yourself, how are you developing your psychology, so that you become that kind of catalyst in society, in school, in college, in organizations, in whatever work that you're doing, and you bring out the best in you, and you repair all the kind of worst things or gaps which are there in your organization or in your space. So, what is this positive psychology? I was just going through and I thought I'll just bring it as a kind of awareness that in 1998, the positive organizational psychology at work gained legitimacy when the father of movement, Martin Seligman, chose it as a theme for his term as president of the American Psychological Association. And this is very, very important, because as we talk about organization culture, we talk about organization design, it is very important for us to understand that what are the values and visions of the organization. All these values, vision, and everything are based on some or the other thing which we want to achieve through business, through people, through technology. Now, if we are not able to have the positive psychology in us, how are we going to achieve all these kind of challenges or all these kind of goals which have been set in the organization? And that's where it is very important in the organizations also to have that kind of positive psychology, so that the organization it keeps moving its pace to keep up the values, visions, and the goals of the organization. That It was more than 20 years. The principles of positive psychology, they have been creatively interwoven throughout the organizational science, including in the fields of healthcare, entrepreneurship, and human resources. Now, there are so many things to change psychology. Everyone comes to me. I'm a strength finder coach, and strengths speak about positive psychology. So everybody comes to me that we are doing yoga, we are doing meditation, we are taking medication, and there are all the kinds of affirmations we are doing, but still nothing is changing. So now, what is something that you are not able to do apart from all these tools which are available? So I have, made these things as tools, because psychology is innate in us. You have a psychology, I have a psychology. Now, if something is not working out and we know that we are affirming negative or our psychology is negative, so we start going on to these kind of external tools like yoga, meditation, maybe the doctor is required, counselor is required, and we start some kind of affirmation. So these are the tools. But then, how consistently are you using these tools to convert your psychology from negative to positive? That is very much important. 1 hour of yoga that I do, one hour of breathing exercise that I do, that does give me that kind of awareness, that does give me that kind of stillness. But that 1 hour, can I take that 1 hour into 24 hours? Can I be in that meditative state, or can I be in that medications or meditations throughout the day? No, it is just a tool. The psychology is innate in us, and a permanent ways to know your innate strength is to know your innate psychology is to be aware about your innate strengths. Because when you start understanding what are your strengths, you start understanding that when you're going closer to success, how are you going closer to success? Not by negative psychology or not by your weakness. You are using your strengths in a constructive way, and you unleashing your true potential. So somewhere the positive psychology is in you, but then you are not tapping into that. You are not making that conscious effort to make yourself aware, and then making the world aware that what are you good at. Innate talents are associated with our governing emotions. We'll speak later about it. Now, what does this positive psychology does when you start talking about positive psychology? I am positive, you are positive, be positive. But then, what actually it does in organizations or in colleges or in workplace, when you are in that kind of positive mindset, you become creative, because then you are tapping on to your strengths, you're tapping on to your talents, tapping on to your governing emotions, you're tapping on to your values, you are knowing yourself. The construct of you is positive, the construct of you is not negative. So once you start tapping on to your inner self about your what you're good at, you become creative. So what when we talk about, I want someone who thinks out of the box. So every one of us is able to think out of the box once we know that what are our talents. So that is where the creative mindset comes into play. And positive psychology gives an abundance mindset. So just the way we saw in our first slide, where this boy was looking for a girl, as saying that I do deserve a girlfriend, and the other cartoon just gave him a mindset shift, that maybe something that you have all the things in you, and the girl is not able to find you. So it moves from scarcity mindset to abundance mindset. When you know that you have the abundance mindset, you become valued to people. From being undervalued to value add in life, you start adding value to people's life. So it is very important for us to know that what are you good at. And it happens when you start understanding your psychology, and you start converting your negative psychology to positive psychology. Everyone who comes for interview, they just keep asking that what is that organization is looking for. I'm telling you, being in corporate, 20 years of leadership experience, being in HR, half of the JDs are absolutely incomplete. Half of the organizations, most of the people at even at leadership level, are they don't know that what kind of how do we make JDs. They just look for people, and I have myself interviewed so many people, so many candidates. The moment I used to see the positivity, the awareness, the attitude, I just used to get them in my team, and rest is all up to me to develop them. So that is the reason why you, instead of understanding that what is the organization looking for, first you be aware that how are you making yourself as a value add to me as a leader when you're coming for an interview. How are you creating that value add in your life, in relationships? How are you creating value add in society? So the scarcity mindset converts to abundance mindset, and then from being undervalued, you become a value add to the world, to your own life, and then you start behaving as a catalyst to change in your to bring change in your own life, and then to your surroundings. So once you have a creative mindset, you shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance, and then you become value add to people. You become as a catalyst to change, and that's where is the positive psychology. There's no other rocket science behind it. So I this is again a funny thing which I found, that I am programmed for positive psychology. Sometimes I don't even feel very positive. Why don't you feel positive? That is something very innate. And please note some answers. I would love to listen and have some interesting answers. If someone can tell that everyone keeps talking, and this here's another talk on positive psychology, but sometimes I don't feel very positive, which is very, very normal. We don't feel very positive because we are not able to use our talents, our innate strengths which are in us, and that's the reason we just always keep getting into places which where you just try to fix yourself, and do not go into the places where you are really passionate about and where you can really be a value add, just because you do not know what is your construct as in strengths, emotions, and values, core values. So positive culture is dive into your strengths and fixing your weakness. Now, this is something very, very profound and a very practical tool of converting your psychology from negative to positive, and actually understanding that how can this positive culture or positive psychology, work. When you know your strengths, as I've spoken earlier, as also when you know about your strengths, when you know about your governing emotions, you start understanding that, hey, this thing brings anger to me, this thing brings anxiety to me. So you start making your life in such a way and start creating that kind of orbit within your own self that makes you joyful, that makes you happy, and you start understanding your weakness, weak emotions, and start drawing a line. So all these things happen when you are aware that what are your strengths, what makes you happy, what work will make you happy. So now let's talk about research. These all researches have been done by Gallups, where it has been proven that discussions uh, invariably focus on opportunities for improvement. Even if the overall evaluation is laudatory, informally, the sting of criticism lasts longer than the balm of praise. So if I come and tell you, hey, you're not good at that, in the organizations, everyone keep asking about what is my feedback, what I'm not good at, what where I have to improve. And if some manager comes and tell them that this is not you have this you have not done good, you have not met the targets, you have not met the metrics, and that criticism stays in you for such a longer time that you start getting faded away and your psychology becomes negative. So that's why it's very important to create awareness about your strengths, so that you start meeting the goals and you start being performing in a positive way. People who are aware about the strengths, okay, so are 3 times likely to have a better and excellent quality of life, and 6 times as likely to be engaged in their jobs. It is always that once you know your strengths, uh, you are in a constructive mindset. So everybody asks me, I am a coach also, I journal for a newspaper also, I give consulting to the organizations also, and people ask me that how are you able to do such kind of diversification in your work? How do you do? Because the only answer is that I know my strengths. I know where I can fix my this strength into analytical way, where I can fix my this strength into coaching, and where I can fix my this strength into research, that I do analysis of socio-economic affairs. That is where I'm using my strengths in a constructive way to first keep my brain working, to keep me positive, and to create that kind of impact that makes me happy. That's the ultimate thing of life. When a person who is well aware of their talents, they look forward for the next day. You're positive. You know your talents. You know how are you going to use your talents. If you understand your communication is your talent. If you understand analytical is your talent, you start planning your day even at home before going to office. That this is how I'm going to look at the data today. This is how I'm going to do the research in market today. This is how I'm going to pitch my sales pitch today. So when you know how are you going to do, and that how will come to know, you will come to know once you know the talents. So talents are known, you start enjoying your work, your job, and your psychology is also changed. You have better relationships, that goes without saying. You are in a happy mindset. You understand your own self, that this annoys you, this brings unhappiness to you, so you start developing yourself, and you end up having better relationships. Because it is always said that if you want to change the world, if you want to change your partner, if you want to change your friends, please bring that change in you. Once you have that change, once you find that change in you, automatically everyone will start behaving, in a desired way, the way you want. Then you in your on the organization, you start, you treat your customers in a better way. You have more positive interactions with your co-workers. You are in a better mindset. You're using your strengths. You feel jovial, you feel energetic, and you have a better rapport and relationships with your colleagues and co-workers. You have more creative, innovative, and positive movements. And these all are into researches of, this is all data which has been taken by the research of Gallup. And then there's a mindset shift from scarcity to abundance. So now, myths on positive psychology, which everybody says that if I'm positive, if I affirm that I'm positive, be positive, we will just forget that what is, we just have to avoid negativity. No, it's not that. Avoiding weakness and negativity is one of the biggest myth of positive psychology, or being aware about your strengths. You have to understand that this weakness is in you, but then this weakness is in you because you are not able to use your strengths, and you're not able to use your strengths in a constructive way. You are behaving in a negative way. So let's say if my strength is empathy, and if someone's strength is empathy, and they are not in that kind of, they're not close to people, they are not kept in a group of people, and they're given a an IC role or an individual contributor role, and they're told, okay, you stay at home and you just work, and you don't have any team. So that this kind of person will not be able to work in a very constructive way, because a person who is empathetic, a person who has this as a strength, will be needing that kind of space where they interact with people, help people, and able to solve their problems. So once you know that what are your strengths, you start demanding those kind of things in the organization. You start looking for those kind of jobs, where you can get aligned along with your strength, and then your psychology has a shift from negative to positive. Then is it's all about being happy? No, again, it's a myth of positive psychology. If you do feel sad, that's a very natural sentiment, that's a very natural emotion. It's just that when you are positive, you don't dwell too much into that kind of sadness, and you know that why are you sad. When you are aware that why are you sad, you automatically create that shift and start doing something that brings you happiness. it's only for rich. So yeah, that's again something that positive people, I mean only people who are rich can be positive. They have money, they can buy everything, and they can meet with all the kind of requirements. They can go to Harvard, they can go to London School of Economics and do whatever they want. No, this is again a myth. It is not only meant for rich. Positive psychology, if you are if you just observe, they do have their bits of issues. And in fact, people who have too much of abundance or too much of resources with them, they are all the more confused and jinxed in making things happen the way they want. So again, positive psychology is only for rich is again a myth. Awareness about yourself, awareness about your strengths and talents, with even zero money in the beginning of your life or in the beginning of your career, can bring miracles to you. Yes, it's only about talking positive. So it is not about talking positive. It does have an interaction about what brings you sadness, because till the time you don't understand that what brings you sadness, you cannot switch from being sad to being happy. So that is the reason why these are the basic myths which people just have, that I'm positive, I will do this, so I'll go for a run, I'll be happy, I'll sweat out. These all things are tools. As I said earlier, these all things will give you happiness and positivity for a particular period of time. You have to understand the positive psychology is innate in us, negative psychology is also innate in us. Positive psychology will be accelerated once you use your innate talents. Negative psychology will be innate once you use, will be elated and accelerated once you use your innate weakness. So both the things are in you. Awareness has to come, and then you start making your life and constructing your life in a desired way, the way you want. So yeah, as in positive psychology is engaging with your talents to live a constructive life. It is very important to appreciate your innate strengths. I was in one of the college and I was just talking about strengths and weakness, and I asked a girl who was just sitting just right in front of me, that what are your strengths that you can say, or that you can just remember. And she said, ma'am, communication. And I couldn't hear that. I again had to ask that what is your strength, and then she said communication. So now, if communication is the strength, do you think that she would I would have not been able to listen? See, communication is an influencer strength. Okay. And it is so powerful that if it is in you innate, no one on the earth can be left unheard by you. So that's why the awareness and appreciation of your strengths is very much important. What do people end up into doing? By falsely claiming their strengths because of the unawareness that what are their true strengths. And then they say that communication is their strength, but they're not able to have a positive life. I'm not able to think positive. So claiming your strengths falsely again does not end up giving you the positive life or a positive psychology or the life that you really desire for. So positive psychology is engaging with your talents to live a constructive life. The unexamined life is not worth living. So as I spoken about awareness, strengths, knowing about yourself, knowing about your talents will bring positivity, because till the time you do not know what are you here for, the life is not known to you, you cannot leverage the best who you are to shape your daily actions and interactions. So once you are aware that these are my strengths, you can examine your life and other people's life in a way that brings happiness, that brings more positivity in you. So that's why please do not lead a unexamined life, which is not worth living. So yes, this is also something that I am multi-talented. I can talk, I can annoy, I can irritate, and all the, and I can do all the things at the same time. So this is also a a very diversified thing, and I'm also doing very diversified thing. But what is more constructive? Okay, he can talk, he can annoy, he can irritate you, all the things at the same time. And I'm very multi-talented. I'm multi-talented. But are these things constructive? Are these things positive? That's the reason why once you know the strengths, you know your weakness, you start joining things in a more better, in a more constructive way, in a more desired way. So now, talking about one of the most important tool strength to convert your, or to shift your negative psychology to positive psychology. Uh, Let me make you people little aware about the three elements of positive psychology, and these are values, emotions, and fears. So if I ask you people, what are your core values? So these are the value cards that I use in my coaching sessions, and there are multiple values. Money is a value, okay? Community is a value. Loyalty is a value. Honesty is a value. So what are your values? So people get little apprehensive when money is spoken as a value, and they take it as a, in a negative way. So now again, psychology is shifting from positive to negative. Money is a value. How are you earning your money? How are you using that money? Okay, and how are you impacting lives of people is something which will define your psychology as in positive or or negative. So there is nothing like right or wrong in this. Everything has got positive as well, everything has got negative as well. Once you're aware that how, what brings you happiness, negativity brings you happiness or positivity brings you happiness, you start getting aligned with your values in a correct way. Emotions, there is nothing even anger is sometimes required. You are in the organization and you are leading team of 1,000 people, and if there are people who are not meeting the targets, and then it is not possible for you to keep taking all the things, and somewhere as a human being, if you are also affected, you have to express it in a desired way. Now how are you using that anger? If someone has got anger which is not aware, if you're not aware that anger is something which can be elated at certain height, that will bring disruption in your life or in your team. If that kind of awareness is not there, then the person's anger will be used in a negative way. Whereas someone who knows that I have anger, but how I have to show it and to what extent I have to show, then this will be turned into a positive psychology. So again, how are you using this anger, which is spoken so much, the anxiety, which is spoken so much, as in how to fix all these things, is all in your hands. You're using anger in a positive way to get things done. You're using your anger by being unaware in such a way that is affecting you again in a negative way. Then fears. Now this is the third element which is very important when we talk about positive psychology, because fears again affects your psychology. Being fearful. Now what is a fear, or what is being fearful? It is all the illusion of mind. We think that what will happen. So we a child is there, and we send a child to a dark room, and we tell them that, okay, you go there and there'll be a monster. So what happens to that child? A child's mindset or a child's psychology is getting developed right from the time that the child is born. And then once the child become little more aware, somewhere their psychology is getting constructed from negative to positive. In a dark room there is a monster, but is there any monster? No. That becomes an illusion in mind. So all these fears are illusions of mind. So quoting my own example, I was very fearful as a cadet in army while jumping from 5 meters feet. I could never jump from 5 meters feet for a swimming test or even for practice of swimming. So that fear of jump was there. However, once I used to get jump, the once I used to jump, the it was easy for me to navigate in the pool and to clear the length. I was aware that the fear is there. I mean, during the exam and during test, of course, I jumped, but in a fearful way. So that acceptance of fear was definitely, I accepted that I have to fix this fear. While being graduated as an officer, and then there was an opportunity which came my way for skydiving. There was a Army women skydiving team which was getting uh, made, and it was for the first time in our Indian Army that they were making Indian women skydiving team. And I thought, let me give a try, although I'm fearful of heights, but let me just take a try of it. And the first jump was from 4,500 feet. So where I was fearful of jumping from 5 meters, I had to jump from 4,500 feet. Okay. And then it was from once you clear 5 basic jumps, then you are taken to a 14,000 feet height from a running helicopter, and then you have to jump. So to understand and to accept of your fears was something my negative psychology was playing. It was illusion in my mind that I am fearful, that I have to that jumping from height is something which is in me. I accepted, decided to change from my negative psychology to positive psychology, underwent training of skydiving, and then jumped from 4,500, completed 5 jumps, and of course then graduated to jump from 14,000 feet and completed 21 jumps. So what I'm trying to say, that it is not that I was fearful at the exit door also. I was fearful during that time also. So till my first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth jump, the fear was in me. But I knew the fear is just an illusion of mine. And here my negative psychology is playing an important role, rather a positive psychology, because I now knew the entire process of jumping, the dynamics of wind, and the entire technical aspects of opening the parachute, deploying it, and having a safe landing. And by 10th jump, I still remember I started enjoying the jump also. There was the exit hesitation, the fear of jump from the height had vanished. So this is what I did, maybe, let's say, I think 17, 18 years back. I'm talking about as a young captain, which I did. Until that time, I was not aware about this kind of psychology, which the studies which I did are now the latest thing, where I now go back and I reflect my life, how this affects, actually this affects life. That's why I speak very loudly and try to create this kind of awareness in people, that both the psychology, both strengths and weakness, everything is in us. It is upon us. How are we elevating, one side and overshadowing the negative aspect of it, of the other thing. So this is a small video which I generally play. So this is what I want to say. I would just wanted to conclude by saying that the awareness about your own self is very, very important. The awareness about your negative psychology playing on yourself is again very, very important. And once you are able to understand that, yes, this is something which is bothering me, this is something that I can create that kind of change, then you start living your life. And time is short. I always say to all these young millennials, Gens, when you people come in front of me, that all that you people have time, so please use. All I don't have is time, and for me, time is the ultimate thing. So please let the journey of life begin with self awareness, talents, positive psychology, because these all are there in us right from a childhood. So make that conscious effort to believe in yourself, to understand how this thing takes you from one level to another level. And with this, I'll take a pause with my thoughts, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for that wonderful presentation on positive psychology and for delving into that agenda in so much detail. And a couple of questions for you. One is, since we address positive psychology, I think it's also very important to address toxic positivity, something that you very briefly touched when you covered the myths. But would you like to expand on it, since social media is filled with positive, toxic positivity, everyone arming up against, good vibes only, stay positive, and keeping their, other emotions, not feeling those emotions. So, what's your take on that, and what's your advice to, especially youngsters like me and also kids in the schools, not to come, not to fall for toxic positivity. Basically, it feels very good. It gives a lot of instant gratification, but it's not the right way. So your take on that.
Brilliant question. I love the question, and I always say that although social media is doing amazing thing, but I mean, yeah, it is creating that kind of damage also, and that's where everything. Once you look at the other person, oh my God, there's so many likes. Oh my God, this person is going to this level, and what am I doing? And all these things. It does give that kind of a hit to yourself. It brings, I have seen students coming out of, I mean, getting into depression also, that social media handle is not working. And how can we be positive? So it becomes toxic as well. And the journey begins from awareness. If you know that something brings sadness to you, see, I said these all are facts. Envy, jealousy, uh, fear, sadness, all these are facts. You have to address these facts. That goes without saying. If you don't address, and you falsely, you keep claiming your things falsely. No, I don't get envy. It is not possible. We are not saints, we are not God. Okay.
Hmm.
You falsely claim the my friend is doing good, I'm very happy. Okay, but at the heart of your heart, you know that you're not happy. So don't lie to yourself. I always say, please make a diary. Please don't get into too much of technicality. Just open a pen, use some nice color pen. Don't use that black and blue. That colors also bring change and shift in your psychology. And just write your fears. The awareness begins with the awareness of your fears also. Then only you can work upon them. I knew that I was capable of jumping. I accepted that. And then I started working. So both are in you. You need not to get carried away by all the kind of goodness which is shown. Goodness, badness, good, evil, this is part of society. We cannot defy it. It is upon you. You can fight with it with your own way, with your talents. I can fight with it with my talents. So
Absolutely.
once you know your talents, your weakness starts getting faded away. Okay. So let's talk about a house. um, a house, if it is not clean for few days, what happens? A layer of uncleanliness is there. So that does not mean the house is not clean. The house is
Absolutely.
clean. The positivity of the house is there. It's just that we have not cleaned it, so the layer of uncleanliness has come. So a layer of weakness overpowers you when you don't use your positives, when you don't use your strengths. So just get away with the. You can get away with this kind of toxic culture, toxic, talks and being positive and all the time by addressing your fears, your weakness in a most honest way.
Absolutely.
Honesty, your own self. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for taking that question. Another question we have is the role of resilience in positive psychology. I think resilience plays a very important role in bouncing back. So, what's its enhanced role basically in positive psychology?
Yes, very, very important. I'll definitely begin it with the pandemic's time. Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, pandemic, being from forces, allow me to say pandemic, the way things were in pandemic, especially in Delhi NCR, it was a battlefield. That's how battlefields are. I mean, bodies coming, no place for in the hospitals, evacuation is happening, and actually, this is what is all about. So now I being there for 15 years, seen these things, witnessed these things. Do you think that people there, are succumbing to all these kind of situations? So that's where the strength of positive psychology, begins. uh, Accepting that this is there, we have to address it and then start, taking things in a constructive way. So how can I do it? How was how I was able to, handle things while being in pandemic? I was in Hyderabad working with Wells Fargo, heading team of 75 people, and my team members were all millennials, young campus hires, and they were literally, some of them were really on in the verge of crying that, Namrata, what will happen? Will our salary come or not? Will we be continuing in the organization? These kind of fears were there, and then over them was a level of team leaders and assistant managers, and then there was me. So to handle this kind of, situation, and handling my own emotions and handling my own self as well, because it was my life as well, you really have to be resilient, and the resilience comes with, again, self awareness. So if you have your strength as empathy, you can connect with people. If you have your strength as communication, you can have a team meeting. If your strength is analytical, you can get the data, from your team members. So in any case, this word resilience is very, very powerful. And this word resilience, is, you are able to be resilient only and only when you know what makes you happy, what makes you sad, and then you start doing things in that way. I was working with Wells Fargo, but and it used to be a kind of 24/7 job, because the process was based in US. Our clients were in US, all the customers were in US. However, when getting bogged down, I started coaching people, pro bono coaching. I started. So something which you are good at, if you start using you in a constructive way, you start moving in a positive direction, and you become mentally strong. You start enjoying your life. So it's, I again say, there is no rocket science. You just need to be aware what makes you happy, what has made you successful in life.
That's a wonderful take on resilience, ma'am. And so when we talk about positive psychology, there's a sort of a confusion regarding terms. So there's this term called psychological well-being, which is sometimes confused with positive psychology. So is it a part of positive psychology, or is it a standalone term? And what's its relevance, basically? Psychological well-being and positive psychology, the difference, or maybe
See,
why the confusion?
psychological well-being is definitely, psychology is one term. Psychological well-being comes when, in organizations, when we talk about, keep your employees psychologically safe. How
Yeah.
can they be kept psychologically safe? How can you be kept psychologically safe? If I start sending or start stalking you, okay, start sending you some weird messages, SMSs, will you be psychologically safe? So
No.
your psychology will start getting affected. In the organizations, people are insecure. People are afraid of being vulnerable. Insecure of their jobs, their promotions, their incentives. So uh, that's why the psychological wellness is, it becomes very important by creating that kind of transparency. Psychological unwellness and wellness definitely, affects you being positive and negative in life. If your workplace is not good, if your childhood is not good, you do have that kind of psychological unwellness, and you are not, positive in some or the other way. You do not, your thoughts are not aligned, and that's where it start building. It is both the terms are, correlated. Psychology is there, but if it is not safe, if you're not emotionally safe, if you're not if you're in a place where you are afraid of speaking, you're afraid of going to your manager, to your teacher, that means you're not psychologically safe. You're not in that environment where you can express freely, and that's where these things matter a lot. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, ma'am, you do. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a personal question that I, just wanted to clarify. And lastly, obviously, would you mind throwing some light on some positive psychology interventions for teachers in the classroom, basically? Just to wrap up and, to give this entire talk, something for our teachers, if that can be taken. Positive psychological interventions.
Yeah, amazing thing. Very, very important. In fact, yesterday also I was having a talk, and this institute is also in Lucknow,
That's great.
and they also wanted to have a talk for the teachers. And it is very, very important, see, as parents and as teachers, to understand the positiveness in people. Okay.
Hmm.
Now again, let it not be toxic that when we keep talking about positive and when we keep talking
Absolutely.
about strengths, so then how do we fix the weakness? It's very easy to identify what are Neha's weakness. You will give me, if you are there in front of me, or if we talk for 10 minutes, I can tell you 10 of your weakness. But then, as a mentor, as a coach, as a teacher, as an elder, uh, it's very important for us not to be judgmental, not to
Hmm.
label people, and to spend
Absolutely.
some more time in understanding that what are your strengths. We all are creations by God, brain given to even everyone in an equal manner. Somebody perform very well, somebody is not able to perform very well. Now your question of psychological, unsafety of psychological, that also creates that thing. It adds on to their performance. So teachers is very much important. For teachers, it is very, very important to understand what is goodness, or what are the strengths and talents of students. If they are not good at certain things, then how can they make them good, or how can they make them learn? So someone can ratify it. Okay. Someone can just keep writing to ratify it. Someone can just read and can just remember. So we used to have Kundra Bawa in our time of social studies class 10 boards I'm talking. And it used to be, we really had to just mug it up. If these teachers are aware about, I don't know whether you would be aware or not, but it used to be a very thick book. And social studies was something which you just have to mug, and I could never mug it. It was just not in me, and I took, I don't know, so many months to understand that how should I learn it by heart. But then I realized, let me just start writing it. And started writing, I was able to recall, I was able to memorize, and then how, that's what things are. So everybody has got their abilities. Teachers have to really understand. And you are into disruptive education, I mean, GETI is into disruptive, and that's what I said, that I think it's amazing because uh, today's generation is just not the way, the awareness is there. They're more into purposeful living. And that's
Absolutely.
why a shift of teaching, a shift of mindset, a shift of handling with these people is very, very important. And for that, this talent based, or strength based philosophy plays immensely important role in the lives of teachers for their purposeful, job, for their purposeful work. So understand the strengths in students, in people, and empower students, rather making them realize that you are not good at that.
That's our philosophy, ma'am, actually, a paradigm shift in education by through empowering teachers and students. That's basically what we, do over here under the vision of Dr. Sunita Gandhi. Thank you so much, ma'am, for echoing
There
that.
are a lot of there are a lot of assessment tools also to know the
Yes.
positivity in people, students, college, school students, college students. So there are a lot of things. But yes, once you know what am I good at, you get empowered, you excel in life. But if you keep fixing your weakness, you become an average person.
That's wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much for highlighting and taking so many questions and highlighting so many aspects of positive psychology, right? Starting from the myths to some of the dimensions of it, that is resilience, basically. We covered that. That's one of my favorite topics. Well, thank you so much, ma'am, once again for joining us today. And if you'd like to conclude something for our parents and teachers, specific students as well, I'd request you to please give some conclusion for our three important stakeholders.
Sure. I would just at the end, I would just like to say that we have really seen live VUCA. I mean, last 2 years, there's been a shift. There's a shift in mindsets. There is a shift in the intent of people. Uh, People have started resigning. People are don't people someone is not even aware what are they here for. The job is not making them happy, that they are earning crores. The CXOs, the CEOs, it's today's SHRM's news. They're also resigning. So for parents and teachers, it is very important to start building the foundation in a more profound way by understanding the strengths and talents in students, in children, because it is very important for them to understand to that what are they good at. If they understand what are they good at, no pandemic, nothing can bring harm to them. Their decision making, their positivity, their aura, their everything will be so charming that no one can stop them in excelling in life. And this pandemic, this world order, this change in world order, this change in Ukraine-Russia war, all these things have given absolutely different life altogether. Nobody could have imagined maybe 5 years back that this is how we are going to be functioning, this is how we are going to talk. But then there have been lots of researches where it has been shown there's a change in the intent of students, children. So address and accept this change. Stop taking them and imposing things the way the way we have led our lives or the way we were groomed. Uh, Things have changed. Climate has changed. Environment has changed. Stress levels have changed. So please change the mindsets as well. It's very important. That's the only thing that I would like to say.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for that wonderful submission of your very wonderful presentation as well. And I hope the teachers who have watched this and everyone who is watching this and who will eventually watch will definitely have some takeaways and will be able to navigate their way into, the future of work, which is unpredictable. But if we empower our children, as you said, they can, definitely navigate their way through it. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again for joining us. And I hope to see you again.
Sure. Thanks, Neha. It was a pleasure meeting you all, and I hope I add value. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.